Welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we'll be studying about inheritance in Java. And in inheritance, it is possible to inherit the attributes and methods from one class to another. And we group this concept, the inheritance concept, into two categories: the subclass, which is the child, and the child is the class that inherits from another class, and the superclass, or the parent, which is the class being inherited from. This basically means that we can write attributes and methods in one class and reuse them in another class without having to redefine them in that other class. The original class where these attributes and methods are defined is the one that's called the superclass or the parent class. In other cases, it is also called the base class. The subclass is the class that is going to inherit those attributes or the methods from the parent class, and is also called the child class. To inherit from a class, we use the extends keyword, and we are going to try and see how this works using two classes. One is the vehicle class, which is going to act as a superclass, and the car class, which we are going to treat as a subclass. So we're going to define some attributes in our vehicle class and some methods in our vehicle class and inherit the same in the car class. So for instance, we do have two classes. One is a vehicle class and the car class. So within the vehicle class, we are going to define an attribute called brand. So we can say private. Let's have it as public string brand, and we are going to initialize our variable into, say, the brand is Ford. So we have an attribute in the vehicle class called brand, and we are also going to define a method that we are going to that we can also use in different classes. So we can have public void. Let's say we want the vehicle to honk because all vehicles would honk. So we need to get the vehicle to honk. So that's how they honk. So that's how they honk. So in our parent class, we have one variable or one attribute called brand, and we also have another method called honk. We could actually define another method. Let's say public void drive, because all vehicles will eventually have to be driven. So let's define another method, drive system out println driving mode. Let's define another method, public void brake. Define another method, accelerate. Acceleration mode. Very good. So we have defined several attributes, and we have defined one attribute, brand. We can actually add another one. Let's say public string manufacturer. And we are going to say that the manufacturer is Ford LLC. So we have 2 attributes and actually 4 methods in this class, and we would like to reuse them in the car class. Remember, for these attributes and these methods, we have defined them in the vehicle class, but we would like to use them in the car class. So for instance, when we come to the car class, right now we don't have any attributes or any methods, but ask yourself, would we have to redefine the attributes and the methods? For instance, would we have to redefine the drive method, the brake method, the accelerate method, or the honk method? Would we have to redefine the attributes, the brand, and the manufacturer? Would we really need to do that? And if we had to do that, would it really be the best programming practice? So what we do, Java provides a concept of inheritance where you can define attributes and methods in one class and reuse them in another class. How do we do that? We use the extends keyword to inherit from another class. So extends, so we say public class extends vehicle. So whenever we write our program like this or our class like this simply means that all the public, all the properties, all the attributes and methods in the vehicle class can be used by the car class. So in this case, the car class is the subclass or the child class, whereas the vehicle class is the superclass or the base or parent class. So for instance, if you were to write our main method here and find out whether we could be able to create an object that can actually access the methods of the vehicle class, let's see how that works. So let's write our main method. Remember, the main method takes an array of string arguments. So let's define an object. Remember the syntax to create an object. So we would like to car1 equals to new car. So in this case, we have we will be using the default constructor. Car1 equals to new car. We would like to find out if we can get the car to either drive or to tell us the make of the car or the manufacturer of the car. Let's find out whether we can be able to do this. So we would like to say car1 dot accelerate. So let's run our program and find out what happens. Very good. So our program runs and it tells us that the car is in acceleration mode. If you wanted, let's say, for the car to brake, you would say car1 dot brake. Sorry, typo. Car1 dot brake. So acceleration mode, braking mode. One thing I would like you to realize is that for the methods, for the object methods accelerate and brake, we have not defined them in the car class. However, they are in the vehicle class. But we are able to access them through the concept of inheritance, meaning that we have defined all these methods in a different class. However, we are also able to access them from a different, from another class, which is the child class. For instance, if you were to remove the concept of inheritance, you would realize that our program is going to give us errors, and that is because we do not have, it does not find anywhere that these methods are defined. For instance, it tells us that you cannot find the symbol for accelerate and brake. And that means that the only way that they can be able to be accessed is through the concept of inheritance. So whenever we get the inheritance back, we get access to those methods. We can also find out how we can be able to access the attributes that have been defined in the different class. So let's say we want to find out what is the manufacturer of this vehicle, and so we could say something like car 1 dot, let's find out the brand. So we can say car brand is car1.brand. Remember, we have not defined the attribute brand in the car class, but it is going to be accessed from the vehicle class through the concept of inheritance. The concept of inheritance is very, very important, especially when you would like to achieve code reuse and to avoid repetition. Let's find out the manufacturer. To avoid repetition, car1 dot manufacturer. Do we have a manufacturer attribute? Let's find out. Yeah, we do. Public string manufacturer. Yeah. So let's run our program and find out whether it does actually access those attributes. Very good. So we have the car brand for manufacturer for LLC. So one thing that you need to realize is that the most important thing that you need to realize is that the attributes and the methods have been defined in another class and they have been used in the child class. Key concept is that the concept is the concept of the superclass and the subclass. The superclass is also called the parent class and the subclass is also called the child class. The superclass is the main class or the parent class from where we inherit attributes and methods, and the child class or the subclass is the class that inherits from the parent class. The concept of inheritance allows you to reuse the methods and attributes of a different class while also allowing you to define other attributes and methods for yourself. For instance, in the car class, we could define other attributes. For instance, we could say public string color. For instance, the color attribute was not in the vehicle class, but we can be able to define it in the car class or in the child class. We could define another attribute, for instance, engine size. Engine size. We could define, for instance, now our car class has attributes that we have defined from that we have defined within the class itself, and others that we have defined elsewhere in the parent class. When do you use inheritance? You use inheritance whenever you want to achieve code reusability, and this is to mean that you would like to reuse the attributes and methods of an existing class when you create a new class. Very important point to note there, that you use inheritance whenever you want to achieve code reusability and whenever you want to reuse the attributes and methods of an existing class in a new class. So thank you very much for staying on course. See you in the next lesson.